Some people speak a lot, but when they finish, nothing stays. Other people speak very little, but when they speak, the room becomes quiet. This is not confidence. This is quiet power. Quiet power in English does not come from strong words. It comes from calm presence, from speaking only when there is something worth saying. In many conversations, people rush. They explain too much. They defend too early. They fill every silence. But powerful speakers do the opposite. They pause. They choose. They wait. Quiet power begins with how you enter a conversation. Not with energy, not with volume, but with calm. Imagine a meeting, many voices, many opinions. Then one person speaks, slow, clear, short. Everyone listens, not because the words are special, but because the speaker is grounded. Quiet English is not passive, it is intentional. You do not speak to impress, you speak to influence. Most people misunderstand power. They think power means control, or dominance, or confidence without doubt. Quiet power is different. Quiet power allows space. Space for others to think. Space for ideas to settle. Space for trust to grow. In English, quiet power often sounds like this. I'd like to add one thought. I'm not fully sure yet, but here's what I see. Let's pause for a moment. These sentences are soft, but they are strong. Quiet power does not rush to be right. It values clarity over speed. Now let's talk about silence. Silence is not empty. Silence is communication. When you pause before speaking, people lean in. When you pause after speaking, people reflect. In quiet English, silence is part of the sentence. Many learners fear silence. They think, if I stop, people will think my English is bad. But fluent speakers know this. Silence makes your words heavier. Let's look at a simple example. Fast speaker. I think this idea is good because it's sufficient and we can finish faster. Quiet speaker. I think this idea is good, it's efficient, and it saves time. Same message, different presence. Quiet power comes from reduction, fewer words, clearer structure, calmer tone. Now imagine a disagreement. Someone challenges you. Loud response. That's not right, because... Quiet response. I see it differently. Here's why. The second response lowers tension. It invites listening. Quiet power does not attack. It stands. Another example. Instead of saying, I strongly believe this is the best option, quiet power says, this feels like the right direction. This sounds softer, but it is harder to argue with. Quiet power avoids extremes. Not always, not never, but often. Sometimes, from my perspective, these words create balance. Now let's slow down even more. Quiet English works best when you speak at 70% speed. Not slow like a beginner, slow like someone in control. You are not trying to win the conversation. You are trying to shape it. Quiet power also means you do not speak immediately. You listen first. Listening is not weakness. Listening is information. Powerful speakers collect information before they respond. Then, when they speak, their words land. Here is a quiet power sentence. Let me think about that for a moment. This sentence shows maturity. You are not rushed. You are not pressured. Another one. That's an interesting point. This sentence opens space. It does not close the door. Quiet power creates psychological safety. People feel calmer around you, and calm people are trusted people. Now let's talk about emotional control. Quiet English does not rise with emotion. Even in tension, the tone stays level. This steadiness is deeply persuasive. Imagine a difficult situation. Someone is upset. You respond, I understand this is frustrating. Let's take a step back. This calms the room. Quiet power leads without pushing. Many people think influence comes from speaking more, but often, influence comes from speaking less. In quiet English, every sentence has a purpose. If the sentence adds nothing, it is not spoken. This is why quiet speakers are often remembered, not for what they said, but for how they made others feel. In the future, as conversations become faster, quiet power will stand out even more. Calm will become rare, and rare things feel valuable. Quiet English is not about personality. You do not need to be introverted or extroverted. You need to be intentional. This is the foundation. In the next parts, we will go deeper. We will explore how to sound warm without oversharing, how to disagree without tension, and how quiet English builds long-term authority. For now, just remember this. You do not need to speak louder. You need to speak clearer. And sometimes you need to speak less. That is quiet power. Quiet power becomes real when people start to trust you. Not because you speak perfectly, not because you speak a lot, but because when you speak, people feel safe. Trust is built in the spaces between words, in the pauses, in the calm tone, in the lack of urgency. Quiet authority in English does not announce itself. It does not say, I am confident. I am experienced. I know better. It lets others feel it. In conversations, loud authority pushes. Quiet authority holds. Let's talk about authority. Many people think authority comes from certainty, but real authority comes from stability, from emotional control, from clear thinking, from calm responses. Quiet English signals stability, and stability creates trust. Imagine a discussion. The topic is complex. Opinions are divided. Someone says loudly, "This is the only way." Another person speaks calmly. "Let's slow down for a moment. There are a few angles we should consider." The room listens to the second person. Why? Because calm suggests perspective. Quiet authority often uses soft openings. For example, from my perspective, this is how I see it right now. I may be missing something, but these phrases do not weaken your message. They strengthen it. Why? Because they show awareness. You are not fighting. You are exploring. Quiet authority avoids absolute language, not, this is wrong, but, I'm not sure this fully works, not, you're mistaken, but, I see it a bit differently. These small shifts change the emotional temperature of a room. Now let's look at tone again. Quiet authority uses a level tone, not excited, not defensive, just steady, even when the topic is important. This is difficult for many learners, because when emotions rise, speed rises. But quiet power requires slowing down exactly when it feels uncomfortable. Here is a powerful moment. Someone challenges you directly. They say, I don't think you're right. A loud response would be, yes, I am, because. A quiet response is, that's fair. Here's why I think this approach still matters. This response keeps control. Quiet authority does not need to win immediately. It plays the long game. Now let's talk about listening. Quiet authority listens more than it speaks. Not passive listening, active listening. You listen to understand, not to respond. And when you finally speak, Your words connect directly to what was said before. This is why quiet speakers often sound wise. They are responding, not reacting. Here is a quiet authority sentence. I hear what you're saying. This sentence alone can reduce tension. Another one. That makes sense in that context. You are not agreeing. You are acknowledging. Acknowledgement builds trust. Quiet authority also knows when not to speak. Silence is a decision. In meetings, the person who fills every gap often loses impact. The person who waits gains weight. Now let's slow the rhythm. Quiet English often uses short sentences, not because the idea is small, but because the idea is clear. For example, this matters, not because it's urgent, but because it affects long-term trust. This structure feels grounded. Quiet authority avoids over-explaining. If people ask questions, you answer. If they don't, you stop. Over-explaining often comes from insecurity. Quiet power assumes presence is enough. Now let's talk about mistakes. Mistake 1. Trying to sound strong. Strong words, strong tone, strong certainty. This often feels forced. Mistake 2. Speaking to fill space. Noise replaces clarity. Mistake 3. Defending too early. Quiet authority waits. Now imagine this situation. Someone misunderstands you. Instead of correcting immediately, you pause. Then you say, let me clarify one part. This sounds calm and respectful. Quiet authority clarifies. It does not attack. Another example. Instead of, that's not what I meant, say, I think there may be a small misunderstanding. This protects the relationship. Quiet English also shapes how people feel around you. People feel calmer, more focused, more open. Calm is contagious. This is why quiet leaders often lead without effort. People follow because they trust the environment. Quiet authority does not seek attention. Attention finds it. In the future, as communication becomes faster and louder, quiet authority will stand out even more. Calm will feel rare, and rare creates value. You are not trying to dominate conversations. You are shaping them. This is the core of English quiet power. In the next part, we will go even deeper. We will explore how to sound warm without losing authority, how to express care without emotional overload, and how quiet English builds long-term influence. For now, remember this. You do not need to prove your power. If you are calm, people will feel it. That is quiet authority. Quiet power alone is not enough. If you are calm but distant, people respect you, but they don't feel close to you. Quiet warmth changes that. Quiet warmth is calm with human connection. In English, warmth does not come from excitement. It comes from presence, from tone, from pacing, from how you acknowledge others. Many learners think to sound warm, they need to sound emotional. They smile too much. They add energy. They explain feelings. But quiet warmth works differently. It is subtle. Quiet warmth sounds like care, without performance. Let's begin with a simple truth. People don't need you to be impressive. They need you to be safe. Quiet warmth creates safety. In conversation, quiet warmth often starts with listening, not waiting to speak, not preparing a response, but actually listening. When someone finishes speaking, quiet warmth responds like this. That makes sense. I understand what you mean. I can see why that matters. These sentences are simple, but they tell the other person, I see you. Quiet warmth does not rush to give solutions. It stays with the feeling for a moment. Compare these two responses. Cold authority. That's not efficient. We should change it. Quiet warmth. I see why this approach feels important. Let's look at how we can improve it. Same idea, different emotional impact. Quiet warmth protects dignity. Now let's talk about tone. Quiet warmth uses a softer edge, not soft words. A soft edge. The words stay clear. The tone stays kind. For example, instead of saying, "You're wrong about this," quiet warmth says, "I may be seeing this differently." This keeps the door open. Another example, instead of, "That doesn't make sense," quiet warmth says, "I'm not sure I fully understand yet." This invites explanation, not defense. Quiet warmth also uses names sparingly. When you say someone's name calmly, it signals attention. Thanks for sharing that, Alex. Simple, human. Now let's slow down even more. Quiet warmth often uses slightly longer pauses. You don't respond immediately. You allow the moment to settle. That pause communicates care. In difficult conversations, quiet warmth becomes powerful. Someone is frustrated. They speak quickly, emotionally. You respond slowly. I can hear that this is frustrating. Let's slow this down together. This sentence alone can calm a situation. Quiet warmth does not fix emotions. It holds space for them. Now let's talk about vulnerability. Quiet warmth allows small uncertainty, not emotional dumping, just honesty. For example, "I don't have a perfect answer yet, but I'm thinking carefully about it." This builds trust. Quiet warmth avoids pretending. People feel authenticity when you don't oversell confidence. Another example, "This is important to me. I want to get it right." This sounds sincere, not dramatic. Quiet warmth also knows when to end a sentence. You don't keep adding explanations to prove you care. You stop and let the sentence land. Over-explaining kills warmth. Presence creates it. Now let's talk about body language in voice. Even without video, people hear your posture. Calm breathing, relaxed pace. This travels through your voice. Quiet warmth is felt, not announced. Many people fear that warmth will reduce authority, but the opposite is true. Authority without warmth creates distance. Authority with warmth creates loyalty. This is why the most trusted leaders often sound calm, kind, and clear. Quiet warmth is not friendliness, it is respect. In English, respect sounds like, "Thank you for raising this." I appreciate you sharing that. These are good questions. You are not praising, you are acknowledging value. Quiet warmth builds long-term influence. People remember how you made them feel long after they forget your exact words. Influence grows when people feel understood. Now imagine yourself in a conversation months from now. You speak less. But when you speak, people relax. They trust the space you create. This is quiet warmth. In the next part, we will complete the picture. We will bring together quiet authority and quiet warmth into real-life conversations, meetings, disagreements, leadership moments. For now, remember this: you don't need louder words. You need calmer presence and genuine care. That is the heart of English quiet power. Quiet power becomes real when it enters real situations. Not ideas, not theory. Real conversations, real tension, real people. Now we bring everything together. Quiet authority, quiet warmth. Used naturally. Let's begin with the meeting. Different opinions, limited time. Someone speaks quickly. Another interrupts, Energy rises. You wait, then you speak. Let's pause for a moment. I'd like to share one thought. The room slows down, not because you are louder, but because you are steady. You continue. I hear several good points. From my perspective, the key issue is clarity. If we align on that, the rest becomes easier. Short, calm, grounded. People listen. Quiet power does not dominate meetings, it stabilizes them. Now, a disagreement. Someone says, I don't think this approach will work. You don't react. You pause. Then, I understand the concern. Here's how I see it. This response keeps the door open. You are not fighting, you are guiding. Quiet power reframes tension. Now, a difficult one-on-one conversation. Someone is unhappy. Their tone is sharp. You respond slowly. I can hear that this is frustrating. Let's slow this down and look at it together. This sentence lowers emotion, not by force, by presence. Quiet power does not absorb emotion. It contains it. Now, an email situation. Instead of long explanations, quiet power writes clearly. For now, let's focus on the next step. We can review the bigger picture after that. This feels calm, organized, reliable. Quiet English in writing creates trust without noise. Now let's talk about leadership moments. A decision needs to be made. People are uncertain. Quiet power speaks like this. This may not be perfect, but it's a clear direction. We'll learn as we move forward. This sentence carries confidence without pretending certainty. People follow clarity. Now imagine feedback. You need to correct someone. Loud feedback. This needs to be fixed. Quiet power. I think this part could be stronger. Let's look at it together. Correction without threat. Quiet power protects dignity. Now imagine receiving criticism. Someone points out a mistake. Instead of defending, you say, "That's helpful to hear. Let me think about it." This shows maturity. Quiet power does not collapse under pressure. It stays upright. Now let's slow even more. Quiet power also shows in what you do not say. You don't explain everything. You don't justify every choice. You trust your presence. Silence becomes part of your language. In conversations, quiet power often speaks last, not because it must, but because it can wait. And when it speaks, the words land. Now let's reflect. Quiet power is not a technique. It is a way of being. Calm thinking, clear intention, respectful tone. English is just the tool. The real power comes from emotional control. This is why quiet power works across cultures. Calm is universal. Now imagine your future self. You enter conversations calmly, you listen fully, you speak clearly. People feel steady around you. They trust you before they fully understand why. That is influence. In the final part, we will complete the journey. We will talk about how to maintain quiet power long-term, how to practice it daily, and how to make it part of who you are, not just how you speak. For now, remember this. You don't need to impress, you need to be present. That is quiet power in action. Quiet power is not something you turn on. It is something you become. At this point, you no longer think about phrases. You no longer try to sound confident, or calm, or warm. You simply are. Quiet power becomes part of your identity when English stops being a performance and becomes a presence. Most people use English as a tool to survive conversations. Quiet speakers use English as a space to think. You don't rush to respond. You let the question sit. You allow yourself to not know immediately. This is where quiet power lives, in comfort with uncertainty. When you are not afraid of silence, you are no longer controlled by speed. When you are not controlled by speed, you choose your words. Quiet power grows when English becomes slower than your thoughts, not faster. Your sentences become simpler, your tone becomes steadier, your presence becomes recognizable. People start to say things like, "You're very calm. You explain things clearly. I trust your judgment." They may not mention English, but English is the medium where this presence appears. Quiet power is not charisma. It does not need energy. It does not need attention. It needs consistency. You show up the same way on good days and difficult days. Calm, clear, grounded. This consistency builds credibility. People don't need to guess how you will react. They feel safe. Quiet power also means you stop trying to control outcomes. You focus on clarity. You speak your truth without attachment. If people agree, good. If they don't, you remain steady. This emotional independence is deeply powerful. Quiet power changes how you practice English. You stop memorizing sentences. You start practicing states. Before speaking, you ask, "Am I calm? Am I present? Am I clear?" If the answer is yes, the English will follow. Practice becomes simple. You slow down daily conversations. You pause before answering. You choose fewer words. You allow silence to finish your thoughts. Quiet power also means you don't overcorrect yourself. You don't apologize for your English. You continue calmly. Fluency is not perfection. Fluency is continuity. When mistakes happen, you don't react. You adjust. Quiet power treats language as flexible, not fragile. Now imagine a year from now. You speak English regularly. You are not the loudest voice, but when you speak, people listen. Not because they have to, because they want to. Your English feels natural, not because it is perfect, but because it reflects who you are. This is the final shift. English stops being something you use and becomes something you inhabit. Quiet power is not about changing your personality. It reveals it. If you are thoughtful, English becomes thoughtful. If you are calm, English becomes calm. This is why quiet power lasts. It does not depend on confidence tricks. It depends on self-regulation. In a loud world, calm becomes rare. In a fast world, slowness becomes valuable. And value attracts attention without asking for it. You don't need louder words. You don't need stronger opinions. You need a steadier inner pace. That pace shapes your English. That English shapes how people feel around you. This is English quiet power, not a skill, a state. Carry it with you into meetings, into conversations, into silence. And remember, you are not behind. You are becoming, quietly.